She speaks in rhyme.
In rhyme? What do you...
Well, the way she talks, the bus will go here and then the bus will go there, because that's what buses do. It's weird. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation, the beginnings.
It's more than awkward and embarrassing. It's actually dangerous. Having someone with his mental state, to me, is terrifying.
The Lincoln Project, a group of Republican strategists opposed to Donald Trump, recently released a series of parody ads that struck a nerve with the former president. These ads, crafted with sharp humor and biting satire, targeted Trump's vulnerabilities, including his ego, mental acuity, and policy decisions. The ads were designed to resonate not just with Democrats, but also with moderate Republicans and independents who have grown weary of Trump's dominance in the GOP. The Lincoln Project's strategy was clear: use humor to bypass partisan defenses and deliver a message that would stick. One of the most effective ads focused on healthcare, highlighting the hypocrisy of Republican senators who enjoy government-funded healthcare while supporting policies that undermine access to affordable care for everyday Americans. The ad cleverly juxtaposed the senators' privileged access to healthcare with the struggles of ordinary citizens, many of whom face difficult choices between paying for medication or putting food on the table. By wrapping this critique in humor, the Lincoln Project made the message more digestible and shareable, ensuring it reached a broader audience. Another ad tackled the January 6th Capitol riot, directly challenging Trump's characterization of the event as a day of love. The Lincoln Project's ad showed the stark reality of that day: violent clashes, law enforcement officers under attack, and the chaos that unfolded as rioters stormed the Capitol. The contrast between Trump's narrative and the actual events was jarring, and the ad's use of humor made the criticism even more potent. By presenting the facts in a satirical format,
full of his struggles and ramblings and rantings and mumbling and bumbling and stumbling, you decide. Take a look.
I find it awkward. I find it embarrassing. He's really in the early stages of some kind of senile dementia.
They've deliberately surrendered our border to vicious coyotes and drug.
The Lincoln Project forced viewers to confront the truth in a way that traditional political messaging often fails to achieve. However, the ads that truly sent Trump into a frenzy were the ones comparing him to President Joe Biden. These ads portrayed Biden as more physically fit, mentally sharp, and in control, directly challenging Trump's self-image as the ultimate alpha male. For a man who has built his public persona on being the strongest, smartest, and most dominant figure in any room, these comparisons were deeply unsettling. The ad suggested that Trump's cognitive abilities were declining, a narrative that struck at the heart of his insecurities. The Lincoln Project knew exactly which buttons to push, and Trump's reaction was both predictable and revealing. Trump's response to these ads was anything but measured. Instead of ignoring the criticism or addressing it with policy arguments, he took to social media to unleash a series of angry posts. He accused the Lincoln Project of using artificial intelligence to make him look bad, a claim that was quickly debunked by the group's founder, Rick Wilson. Wilson pointed out that the ads simply used Trump's own words and actions, highlighting his unfiltered behavior without the need for any technological manipulation. Trump's conspiracy theory about AI only served to amplify the ads' reach, as media outlets and social media users seized on his over-the-top reaction. The former president's digital tantrum didn't stop there. He also lashed out at Fox News for airing the ads, demanding that the network cease broadcasting them. This demand was particularly ironic, given Trump's frequent complaints about cancel culture and censorship.
These coyotes and drug smugglers. The smuggler. A smuggler!
By attempting to suppress criticism, Trump only reinforced the perception that he is thin-skinned and unable to handle dissent. His reaction was a gift to the Lincoln Project, as it drew even more attention to the ads and ensured they reached a far wider audience than they would have otherwise. The Lincoln Project's strategy was a masterclass in political messaging. By using humor to deliver their critique, they made their ads more engaging and shareable, ensuring they reached not just Trump's opponents, but also those who might otherwise be indifferent to political content. The group's understanding of Trump's psychology was key to their success. They knew that any suggestion he was weaker or less competent than Biden would provoke a strong reaction, and they used that knowledge to their advantage. Trump's inability to resist responding to the ads only served to amplify their impact, turning what might have been a minor story into a major talking point. The broader implications of this episode are significant. It highlights the power of humor in political communication, particularly in an era where traditional messaging often falls on deaf ears. By making people laugh, the Lincoln Project was able to break through the noise and deliver a message that resonated with a wide range of viewers. It also underscores the challenges Trump faces as he seeks to maintain his influence within the GOP.
Touch, losing his marbles at an alarming rate.
They have sinks where no water comes out.
I do want to remind everybody, this is the guy that worked with the former Klansman.
I will be Donald Trump's most loyal advocate to make sure his nominees go to the Supreme Court.
You turn it on, no water comes out. You want to wash your hands, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen this, and you turn on the sink and it's very little.
His thin skin and tendency to overreact to criticism make him an easy target for satirical attacks, and his inability to ignore these jabs only reinforces the perception that he is unfit for leadership. In the end, the Lincoln Project's parody ads were not just a critique of Trump, they were a demonstration of the power of strategic communication. By understanding their target and crafting a message that would provoke a reaction, they were able to turn Trump's weaknesses into a weapon against him. The former president's response only served to highlight the effectiveness of their strategy, ensuring that their message reached far beyond their initial audience. As the 2024 election cycle heats up, it's clear that humor will continue to play a key role in shaping the political landscape. The Lincoln Project's parody ads and Donald Trump's explosive reaction to them reveal much more than just a clash between a former president and his critics. This episode underscores the evolving dynamics of political communication, the fragility of Trump's public persona, and the growing power of satire as a tool for holding leaders accountable. From a political news expert's perspective, this incident is a case study in how humor, when wielded strategically, can cut through partisan noise and expose deeper truths about a leader's vulnerability.
He can't finish a sentence.
Anonymous, really anonymous.
The man doesn't know where he's going. He doesn't know where the exit is. He's not sure how to get through his speech.
Mr.
President, being corrupt and senile is even worse.
Old, outdated, retired, elderly, aging, senile, dementia, slow, confused, idiot, ignorant, sleepy, gaff, bumbling, bad, terrible, disappointing, joke, profanity.
Being corrupt is bad.
Satire has long been a staple of political commentary, but its role has become increasingly significant in the digital age. The Lincoln Project's ads are a prime example of how humor can be used to deliver hard-hitting critiques in a way that resonates with a broad audience. By framing their message in a satirical format, the group was able to bypass the usual partisan defenses that often shield politicians from criticism. Humor disarms viewers, making them more receptive to the underlying message. For instance, the ad comparing Trump to Biden didn't just highlight policy differences, it directly challenged Trump's self-image as a strong, dominant leader. By portraying Biden as more mentally sharp and physically fit, the ad tapped into Trump's well-documented insecurities about his age, intelligence, and stamina. This approach is particularly effective because it doesn't just criticize Trump's policies, it attacks the very foundation of his public persona. For a man who has built his brand on being the ultimate alpha male, being mocked as weak or out of touch is the ultimate insult. The genius of the Lincoln Project's strategy lies in its ability to weaponize Trump's own behavior. The ads didn't rely on fabricated claims or exaggerated narratives. They simply used Trump's own words and actions to make their point. This approach not only makes the criticism harder to dismiss, but also reinforces the perception that Trump is his own worst enemy. By reacting so strongly to the ads, Trump essentially confirmed their accuracy, proving that the Lincoln Project had hit a nerve. From a political communication standpoint, Trump's response to the ads was a textbook example of how not to handle criticism. Instead of ignoring the ads or addressing them with a measured response, Trump chose to amplify them by lashing out on social media. His claims that the ads use artificial intelligence to make him look bad were not only baseless, but also counterproductive. By suggesting that the footage was manipulated, Trump inadvertently drew more attention to the ads and reinforced the perception that he is unable to handle criticism. Trump's decision to attack Fox News for airing the ads was equally misguided. By demanding that the network stop broadcasting the ads, Trump revealed a fundamental misunderstanding of how media works in a free society. His attempt to suppress criticism not only backfired, but also highlighted his thin skin and authoritarian tendencies. For a man who frequently rails against cancel culture, Trump's actions were deeply hypocritical, further damaging his credibility. This episode also highlights a broader trend in Trump's post-presidency, his reliance on social media to vent his frustrations. While platforms like Truth Social give Trump a direct line to his base, they also expose him to new vulnerabilities. Every tweet or post becomes fodder for his critics, and his impulsive, unfiltered reactions often do more harm than good. In this case, Trump's social media meltdown turned what might have been a minor story into a major news event, ensuring that the Lincoln Project's ads reached a far wider audience than they would have otherwise. The Lincoln Project's ads also shed light on the deepening divisions within the Republican Party. While Trump's most loyal supporters rushed to his defense, many moderate Republicans and independents found the ads both amusing and revealing. For these voters, the ads tapped into a growing sense of fatigue with Trump's dominance in the GOP. They also provided a rare opportunity for conservatives to laugh at their own party's flaws, a cathartic release in an otherwise tense political climate. The fact that the Lincoln Project is made up of Republican strategists only added to the ads' credibility. It demonstrated that criticism of Trump is not limited to Democrats and that there are still voices within the GOP willing to challenge his leadership. This is particularly significant as the party grapples with its identity in the post-Trump era. While Trump remains a powerful figure within the GOP, his inability to handle criticism and his tendency to alienate moderate voters could ultimately weaken his influence. The success of the Lincoln Project's ads highlights the changing nature of political communication in the digital age. In an era of deep political polarization, traditional messaging often falls on deaf ears. Voters are increasingly skeptical of partisan rhetoric, and many have tuned out politics altogether. Humor offers a way to cut through the noise and engage audiences who might otherwise be indifferent to political content. This episode also underscores the importance of understanding your audience. The Lincoln Project's ads were designed to resonate with both Democrats and moderate Republicans, ensuring they reached a wide range of viewers. This approach is particularly effective in a deeply divided country, where finding ways to bridge the gap between different political factions is more important than ever. Trump's reaction to the ads also highlights the central role of social media in modern political communication. Platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and Truth Social have become battlegrounds for political messaging, where every post, tweet, or comment can have far-reaching consequences. In this case, Trump's social media outbursts turned the Lincoln Project's ads into a major news event, ensuring they reached a far wider audience than they would have otherwise. This dynamic creates a feedback loop where criticism and counter-criticism are constantly amplified, often with unintended consequences. For political strategists, this presents both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, social media offers a powerful tool for reaching voters directly. On the other hand, it requires a level of discipline and restraint that many politicians, including Trump, often lack. The Lincoln Project's parody ads and Trump's reaction to them offer valuable lessons for political strategists and leaders alike. For the Lincoln Project, the episode demonstrates the power of humor as a tool for political critique. By wrapping their message in satire, they were able to deliver a hard-hitting critique in a way that resonated with a broad audience. For Trump, the episode serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of overreacting to criticism. His inability to handle the ads with grace or restraint only reinforced the perception that he is thin-skinned and unfit for leadership. In the age of social media, where every reaction is magnified and scrutinized, this is a vulnerability that could have far-reaching consequences for his political future. Ultimately, this episode is a reminder of the power of strategic communication in shaping public opinion. Whether through humor, satire, or traditional messaging, the ability to connect with voters and hold leaders accountable remains a cornerstone of democracy. As the 2024 election cycle heats up, it's clear that the lessons learned from this episode will continue to shape the political landscape.